So we are at the end of the year and we're entering the new year in less than a week, and this is the perfect time for you to start building new habits. So I do believe that you can build good habits any time of the year. We don't have to wait until January 1st, but the new year is powerful because of momentum. It's a new start, you get second chances, people are more energized, more reflective, and more willing to change. So that we want to make sure that we take advantage of this opportunity, of this momentum properly, so that you can finally reach your goal in becoming more fluent and confident in English next year. So if being fluent and confident in English is something that you have been postponing for years, this is the video for you, and let's talk about it. Hold up. If you're an expat or a professional who urgently need to speak better English in your day-to-day or at work and you have been stuck at the intermediate plateau for months or even years, this is your chance to finally take advantage of the new year momentum to reach your English goals in 2026. If you are ready, make sure to apply for the English Sprint Academy program that starts on January 18th, 2026. When you're ready to reach your English goals, make sure to apply using the links below on the pinned comment or in the description box. I'll see you soon. So the first step is to shift your identity. So in this bestseller book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, he talks about this concept called identity-based habits. So which means that for real change to start, you actually need to start changing the way you perceive yourself before taking on new behaviors. Real change starts with identity and not goals. So instead of asking yourself, what habits should I build? You need to start asking yourself, who do I want to become? So why is this? Because if you still see yourself as an English learner, your actions will stay passive. You're still going to see yourself as a learner instead of someone who's actively using the language. Which means that as a learner, you see English from the outside, and if you're a user, you're integrating English in your daily life. And at this point, as an intermediate, you are past the point of only learning. Yes, you're still learning, but you're also someone who's already using English in your day-to-day. For instance, right now, you're actually watching these videos, understanding exactly what I'm saying in English to upgrade yourself. So you're already using English to learn about other things. If you're already reading articles in English or watch podcasts to learn about other things besides English, you're already a user of English. So start looking at yourself that way. So changing the way you look at yourself is something very simple, very easy, and you can actually start doing it right now, right this second. Pause it and think of yourself as a user of English. Now you have shifted your identity, you are now ready to set your goal. Now you want to be clear with yourself. What exactly do I want to achieve? Make sure that you actually take some time to think about yourself. You can even write it down to make it concrete. And why is it important for us to get clear on this goal? Because a goal gives you direction. It gives your learning a direction so that you don't only start doing random exercises that makes you feel productive, but you're not actually going anywhere. Knowing where you're headed to prevents you from becoming a hamster in a wheel, where you're putting in a lot of effort, you're feeling productive, but you're not actually taking a step closer to your destination. If you've been doing a lot of exercises, putting a lot of effort, watching movies, listening to podcasts, reading books, but despite doing all of these things, you just seem to get stuck in your current level, it may not be because you're lazy, it may not be because you're not trying enough, it's just because you don't have enough clarity in what exactly you want to achieve, or you don't really have the milestones or the next steps to guide you to the next to your goal. So I hope that by this time, you're actually feeling more motivated to write your goals down. So what is the next step in creating a more specific and concrete goal? One thing to keep in mind is that we want to make it smart, or at the very least, make your goal as specific as possible. So why is it important to make our goal specific and not vague? Because a vague goal gives your brain nothing to act on, while a specific goal creates clarity, urgency, and concrete next steps. So when your goal feels clear and close enough, you are far more likely to take actions to actually reach that instead of procrastinating and overthinking and feeling paralyzed. So make sure that you want to make your goal as specific and realistic as possible. It's still challenging. So I want to share you some of the most common goals that my clients in the past have written. In the next 2 or 3 months, I want to answer job interview questions clearly and confidently without freezing or overthinking, so I can realistically secure a job. Or within 2 or 3 months of living abroad, I want to comfortably talk about topics beyond daily small talks like opinions, experiences, and ideas, so I can build real connections. Or maybe in the next 3 to 6 months, I want to clearly explain my role, responsibilities, and impact at work so that I am perceived as competent and gain more trust and respect from my coworkers or my superiors. So these goals are specific enough and realistic enough for these students to achieve it. And also, there is a deadline to it in 2 months or in 3 months or in 6 months, so you know exactly what to plan. So now we have shifted your identity, we have set a goal for you, a specific one, and now you are ready for step 3, and that is choosing the right habits. So the question to ask yourself is, what habits should I build? And this is where a lot of people get stuck. They're not really sure what they need to do to reach what they want to reach. The key is to use your goal as a filter. So this is why we did the goal setting earlier on, because then this gives you guideline on what habits that you want to start adopting. We want to make sure that the habits that you adopt directly support the goal and not just some random exercises. So I'm gonna take another example from one of my students, Salem, and his goal is that he wants to get a job. He's living in the Netherlands and he wants to carry himself more confidently in the interviews. So let's say his goal is in the next 2 or 3 months, he wants to speak confidently in job interviews, to make it very simple. And this goal already tells you what your habits should look like. Ideally, you need 2 or maximum 3 habits to start doing, because more than 3 habits is just gonna get a bit too overwhelming and get too cluttered. So we wanna make it simple and just a few, it's enough. So anything more than that would create inconsistency and overwhelm. So let's talk about the first habit that you can take. Your habit number 1 should ideally target your input. So if your goal is to get better at doing job interviews, then let's say your input habit should be learning as much as possible and how you can conduct yourself more confidently in job interviews. What are the tips and tricks? What are some, let's say, less well-known facts when it comes to doing job interviews? Whatever it is, you need to be an expert at that. Because this way, not only will you start learning about new words or new terms when it comes to having job interviews, you will also learn how to get better at it. So 2 birds in 1 stone. You can also look for YouTube channels that gives you some mock interviews, some role play interviews, that gives you a lot of examples on how usually job interviews are conducted. Or maybe if you're going to go mostly on an online job interview, you want to learn the tips and tricks, and to do that, how to seem confident, how to be prepared. Also study how different people would structure their responses. This way, you're going to learn how to become a better interviewee, a better candidate. It would also improve your social skills. And also, this builds your clarity and your ideas, and also improve your language patterns. The second habit that you want to start adopting should target your output, and this is absolutely necessary. This is a non-negotiable. So if your eventual goal is to be able to speak confidently in a job interview, then you're gonna have to do a lot of speaking, because in order for you to become confident in something, you're gonna have to start doing a lot of it. Fluency is not built through reading, through watching, or like built in your head. It's built through a lot of use. As an example, Salem, who actually ended up getting a job by the end of the sprint, one of the habits that he started doing was to vlog himself answering 1 interview question every day. Or like, I'm not sure if it was every day, but he would actually upload a video of himself answering 1 interview question. For instance, a very common interview question that's always asked is like, tell me about yourself. And then he would record himself answering that question. And of course, I would give him feedback on how he can do better. And then the next week, or like in a couple of days, he would then train himself to answer another question. It's like, what is your 5-year plan? Or like other interview questions that is very common is, tell me about the time that you made a mistake and what did you do to overcome it, or something. You know, every time you answer a question, whether it's just, you know, recording yourself or speaking to yourself, it's gonna give you more data, more insight, more practice on how you can carry yourself. So with Salem, he joined the ESA. So when he submitted his practice video in answering job interview questions, then I would give him feedback on what he should do or what he should say. So if your end goal is speaking, then your habit must include speaking. And you would be surprised how much you can improve just by doing this yourself in your own room without anyone else.
Hello, my name is Salim. I am very happy that I joined to this program, and I want to improve my fluent at job interview. Also, when I talking about my experience and the project that I worked in before. Yes, finally I received the email and they accept me. This is already the third time I try to enter this program.
There's a big misconception that in order for you to practice, you need to have a speaking partner. But you can actually start practicing it using your phone. Record yourself, or if you don't like to see yourself in videos, you can just record your voice. And then once you've recorded, then you could review it and then think to yourself, I think I didn't do very well here. I think my pronunciation was a little bit unclear. I think I should do this better in the next video. And when he was in the program, we really helped him with that by giving him feedback. So now you have built 2 habits, one that targets your output and one that targets your input. And there's actually one other habit that I think would really help you a lot, but this is a part that a lot of people skip. And this is the habit of reflecting and giving yourself feedback or reviewing. So this means that after doing all of these more practical habits like getting input or practicing your output, make it a habit to rewatch it and to review it and to truly ask yourself, what can I do better? Because only when you reflect and then you start to understand what your weak spots are, and then you take the intentional steps to get better at it, that's when it's going to really push your progress. Also, if you're lucky enough to have someone to give you feedback, make sure to take advantage of this to really improve much faster. Because this habit of reflecting and reviewing turns practice into progress, not just repetition. Because if you don't review yourself, you keep doing all of these practice, you keep doing the reps, but you're not really sure if you're improving. You're just doing it. This is why in our coaching program ESA, this is what we help you with. We help you build a habit. Let's say one of your habits would be vlogging or like recording a video, and then you would submit it to us, and then our team would actually just give you feedback for you to improve. So this is what a lot of our students find the most helpful. It's the feedback and the implementation of the feedback. And this is one of the ways that you can improve within 2 months very fast. So as you can see, the structure is very simple. First, you get a lot of input, so you know what to say, and you also learn new words. And 2, output. You need to start using. You need to start practicing the things, the input that you learn. And then 3, feedback or reflection, so that you can actually improve. When your habits are aligned with your goals, your progress becomes much faster and much more natural, and you would be surprised. So in this video, then I'm giving you the roadmap on how you can actually start building good habits. But maybe at this point, you're still telling yourself, I know what to do, but I just cannot seem to get myself to do it. I know that very well because these are also problems that I experience in my own life when it comes to building new habits, like let's say going to the gym or procrastinate less. And one thing that really helps me, both in my life and also in my students' life, is to actually invest in a coach. Because coaching doesn't only give you guidance, it also gives you accountability. Because having a coach actually can push you to do the things that need to be done. So for instance, me, I know that in order for me to lose weight, I'm just going to have to eat a little less carbs, and go to the gym more often. I know what to do, but for some reason, I just don't have the urgency to do it. And it's like, I'm okay like this, it's not super urgent. And I also don't have anybody to motivate me or to push me. With having a coach or joining a program is not so much about knowing what needs to be done, because then you already know what to do, but it's to actually do it. And this is what investing in a program or a coach can really help you. So one of my students, Salem, by the end of the spring, he actually got the job that he's been trying 3 times before. My other student, Tria, for instance, she lives in New Zealand and she was okay with speaking English, but she wanted to get more confidence in speaking with local New Zealanders about other topics beyond the daily routines. And now she speaks so confidently and embodied the English side of her. And one of my students, Ida, her goal was to be able to speak about her work, about professional topics more confidently. And here she is uploading videos about how to become a great salesperson. So all of these things can really be achieved with consistency and discipline, and it can be achieved within just a very brief time period of 2 months. So if you are ready to make this year finally the year where you reach your English goals and you need my help, make sure to check out and apply for the English Sprint Academy that is going to start on January 18th. If you have been postponing improving your English for months or even years, this is the time to take advantage of the momentum of the end of the year and apply. So I hope this video has helped you a lot. So thank you so much for watching the video till the end. I will see you next time in another video. Take care, goodbye, and have a happy new year. See you.